So let us continue on to page 3. So it says the calculator portion here. Number 13, what is the reference angle for a position angle of 5 pi over 3 radians? Um, we know that 2 pi is a full rotation, and of course that is equal to 6 pi over 3. And here 5 pi over 3 is pi over 3 short of 6 pi over 3. So we know that the reference angle is going to be just pi over 3. So the answer here is C. C. 7:30. So we know that the minute hand is pointing down, so it would intersect the unit circle at 0, -1. Now the 7:30 means that the hour hand is move 1 hour from the 6 and then another half hour away from the 6. So we know that 2 pi is to 12 hours. So 1 hour would be pi over 6. And of course, then pi over 6 plus pi over 12 would be 1.5 hours in this case. And if we added those together, this would be 3 pi over 12, which is the same as pi over 4. So this one, the answer is B. Okay, next question. Circle an arc of 60 centimeters. Subtend an angle of 5 radians. So we're going to use the arc length formula. A is equal to r theta. We know the arc length is 60. We know the radius is, sorry, we don't know the radius. We have to find it. Here's r. And then we know that the angle measured in radians is 5. So the radius is then simply going to be 12. So the answer is B here as well. Next one. 3.5 radians to degree measures. Okay, so in terms of pi, so 3.5 multiplied by 180 degrees divided by pi. So that would be 630 degrees over pi. Right. Next one, 85 degrees to radian measure. Okay, so 85 degrees. Oops. We're going to multiply by pi and divide by 180. Let's go ahead and use a calculator in this case. Here we go. So that will be 85 times pi where is the pi button? All right, there it is. And then divide by 180 degrees. Okay, 1.48. Okay, so the answer is C here. Okay, number 18. If cotangent theta is equal to 3a over a minus 1, find cosecant theta. Okay, so in this case, notice that cotangent theta is equal to x over y. So we have an x value of 3a and a y value of a minus 1. So with these two, we can find the r value, which we will need for cosecant theta. So we have 3a all squared plus a minus 1 all squared is equal to r squared. So that would be 9a squared plus a squared minus 2a plus 1 equals r squared. And that will simplify to 10a squared minus 2a plus 1 is equal to r squared. Continuing on the other side, so r is going to be equal to plus or minus the square root of 10a squared minus 2a plus 1. Oops, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. It's r value is going to be positive. So there you go. There we go. And then it asks for cosecant theta, which is going to be r over y. So in this case, we're going to have the letter D. Since we know r is this expression here, and we know y is equal to a minus 1. Okay, number 19. If secant theta is greater than 0, then what quadrants could it be in? That's the same thing as saying cosine theta is greater than 0. That means the quadrants where x is greater than 0, and that will be quadrants 1, of course, and also quadrant 4. So that would be C. Okay, so number 20. If 0, -1 is a point on the terminal side of an angle, what is the exact value of cosecant theta? So here we have cosecant theta is equal to r over y. Okay. So the radius, actually, we're just going to go ahead and draw the angle here. Or the point here. So it's point straight down, like so. Here is 0, -1. Notice that the radius is just 1. The y value is -1, so the ratio will be -1, which means the answer is just B. Okay. So continuing on to number 21. Angle theta is in the first quadrant, and sine theta is equal to 3 over the square root of 34. Okay, so we know that this is simply y over r. So we need to find the x value. We know that the x value will be positive when we do find it, so it's going to go ahead and use x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So x squared plus 3 squared is 9, and the square root of 34 squared is 34. So that means x squared is equal to 25. That means x is equal to just positive 5 in this case, because the angle is in quadrant 1, so we know x is positive. That means the x coordinate is 5, and the y coordinate is still 3 from before. So the choice is E. Okay, so next ones are some calculator questions here. What is the value or values of theta if tangent theta is equal to 12.35? Is measured in radians, and theta is somewhere between 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so these ones, we can use our calculator. Theta is equal to arc tangent 12.35. Let's see what the calculator gives us in this case. Okay, so make sure that the calculator is in radian mode. It is. So second tangent and then 12.35. Okay, 1.49. Okay, notice that 1.49 is in quadrant 1. So that's one of our answers. Now, tangent theta is greater than 0 in quadrant 1, whose answer we found, and also in quadrant 3. So what we're going to do is use our first answer as the reference angle, and then find the answer in quadrant 3. So if we were to draw a diagram, it will look something like this. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to use an arrow here. Yeah. So it looks something like this. We got our first answer going counterclockwise into quadrant 1. This is 1.49. So the answer in quadrant 3 is going to be pi plus 1.49. And that would be, so this is theta 1. Theta 2 is going to be pi plus 1.49, which is approximately equal to 4.63. Right, just making sure that's true. So just add pi here. So yeah, we do get 4.63 as the second answer. Okay, let's move on to number 23. Same idea. So let's do this one in slightly more correct order. First, sine theta is greater than 0. So we know that the solutions will be in quadrant 1 and also in quadrant 2, right, where the y values are positive. So to find the first solution, we're going to use a calculator. So arc sine of 0.548. Let's see what that gives us. So here, second sine and then 0.548. Right. So that rounds to just 0.58. Okay. So let's consider where the solutions will be. First one is somewhere around, let's just say here. And then the other solution will be in quadrant 2 with the same reference angle. So that's what it will kind of look like. So here we have 0.58. So here we have the reference angle, 0.58, of course. So to find theta number 2, we will have pi minus 0.58, which will be approximately equal to 2.56. Okay. Next one, again, same idea. This time, however, sine theta is less than 0. So since sine theta is less than 0, that means we will be in quadrants 3 and 4. So the calculator will give us, let's see what the calculator gives us first. 0.65. Right, so notice that the angle this time will be negative, which is not between 0 to 2 pi, so we cannot actually use that as an answer, but it will lead us to them. So it's going to show the work here. The first solution that we get, once again, from the calculator was negative 0.71. Now, this is in quadrant 4. So if we were to draw a picture quickly, it will look something like this in quadrant 4. Again, the other solution will be in quadrant 3, so it will be over here. So notice that the reference angle of the angle that we found in quadrant 4 is just going to be 0.71, positive this time. So we can use that to find our two solutions. One will be pi plus the reference angle of 0.71. And then the other solution, theta number 2, will be 2 pi minus the reference angle of, once again, 0.71. Okay, so the first solution will be 3.85, and the second solution will be 5.58. Okay, so to make sure that is right, here we go. 2 pi, and then, right, so that's 5.58, so that's good. Okay, next one, same kind of thing. Here we know that secant theta is negative, so therefore cosine theta must also be negative. That means our solutions will be in quadrants 2 and 3. Okay, so to find the first angle, again, we're going to use a calculator. So theta is equal to arc cosine of 1 over negative 3.804. Okay, so the reason why that was done first is if we look at secant theta, that's the same thing as 1 over cosine theta, and that's equal to negative negative 3.804. So that means cosine theta must be equal to 1 over negative 3.804. And that's why we're going to put the instruction in the calculator thusly. So here we go. Arc cosine 1 over and then negative 3.804. And that will give us 1.84. Okay, so that is the solution in quadrant number 2. So somewhere around here. And the next one will be in quadrant 3. So the tricky part is we don't have the reference angle just yet. We are actually given the first solution here, 1.84. So to find the reference angle, we actually have to go pi minus this number. So that will give us a reference angle of 1.3. So the second answer, this will be pi plus the reference angle of 1.3. So the second angle will be 4.45. It's just the way that it rounded up instead of down. Okay, so the other way of doing this question is to instead find the reference angle directly using arc cosine of 1 over just 3.804. So the positive version of the same number, and that will give us the, of course, quadrant 1 answer, which we can use as the reference angle. But the rest of the question will behave much the same way. Okay, so that will be, yeah, so this will be the reference angle of 1.3. So that's a slightly different way of doing the same question. Okay, so just 3 more questions here. Okay, first one, write an equation of the circle center at the origin with radius 13. So that would just be x squared plus y squared equals to the radius of 13 squared. So that's fairly straightforward. And then it says to determine whether the point A, negative 12, negative 5, is on the circle. So we simply substitute negative 12 for x and negative 5 for y, and c is equal to the right-hand side. So that's 144 plus 25 is equal to 169. So that is, in fact, on the circle. All right, so let's look at number 27. Similar to the questions that we've seen before here, again, another equation. However, this one has a few additional steps. So first thing we're going to do here is to subtract 2 sine theta from both sides. So that will give us 5 plus 2 sine theta is equal to 4. That means 2 sine theta is equal to negative 1 if we subtract 5 from both sides. And from there, we can divide both sides by 2, of course. So this really just boils down to sine theta is equal to negative 1/2. So from there, we know that, oh, sorry about that, sine theta is less than 0, which means we are in quadrants 3 and 4. Okay, and of course, negative 1/2 is a special triangle value, so let's go ahead and draw the special triangle here. Oops, sorry about that. So this would be 1/2 root 3 over 2 and 1, and of course pi over 3 and pi over 6. So what this tells us is that the reference angle is going to be, oh, actually, sorry, this doesn't specify whether this should be in radians or degrees. Kind of do both. So the reference angle is pi over 6, but it is in quadrants 3 and 4, so let's go ahead and draw those in. Here's quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So the first one would simply be pi plus pi over 6, which of course is 7 pi over 6. And the second answer here, this would be 2 pi minus pi over 6, which of course is 11 pi over 6. So now we can put them together as general solutions. Theta equals 7 pi over 6 plus 2 pi n, and also 11 pi over 6 plus, maybe we should use different letters here, m and n. Sorry about that. So m and n are integers. Of course, we can also have the same answer but in degrees. So that would be 210 degrees and 330 degrees. And instead of adding 2 pi, we'll add 360 degrees. And the rest of these answers are much the same. Okay. So finally, we have a tangent question where the tangent theta is squared. So we can factor this as a quadratic. So here we have tangent theta minus 6 is one possibility, and then tangent theta plus 2 is the other binomial. So that means either tangent theta is equal to 6 or tangent theta is equal to negative 2. Okay, so each one of these will give us two solutions. The first one here, theta is equal to arctangent of 6. And since here tangent theta is positive, that means we have quadrant 1 and 3 to contend with. Let's see here. Oops, let's get rid of everything. Arctangent of 6, 1.4. 1.46, I guess. Sorry, 1.406. Okay, so that will be a solution somewhere up here. And of course, there will be a solution in quadrant 3 as well with the same reference angle. So this would be 1.406. And then our second solution will be pi plus 1.406. Which will give us, let's see here, so plus pi, okay, 4.547. Okay, and then here we also have tangent theta equals negative 2, so that will be answers in quadrants 2 and 4. Now, if we use the calculator to get an answer, it will give us something in quadrant 4, but it will be negative. So here, arctangent negative 2. Alright, so negative 1.107. That means for the solutions in quadrants 2 and 4, the reference angle for those two will be 1.107. Okay, so go ahead and use a different color for those two. somewhere around here. Okay, so here the reference angle is 1.107, and here the reference angle, once again, 1.107. That means for the third angle, we have pi minus 1.107. See what that gives us. Okay, that gives us 2.034. And then the fourth answer will be 2 pi minus the reference angle of 1.107. And that gives us 5.176. Okay, so we have 4 answers altogether for this tangent squared question. And that's it for the whole practice test. Thank you for listening.